All right, we are live. Awesome. That's running, which is good. So we'll wait and demo that here in just a second. Let's make sure everyone is here. It's been a little while since I've live streamed, so let me know you see me okay, which is good, and you can hear me okay. I think last time I had some issue with my audio, so I know there's a little lag between the chat and YouTube and so forth, so let me know you can hear me okay, and I can hear you okay, which I don't think I can hear you, which was the problem last time. Yeah, see, it goes through Ecamm Live, but then this says system audio. I need that to like say my headphones somehow. I'm just gonna pipe it directly to Bose so I can hear you all. If anyone can put some stuff in the chat, I should hear a little bloop bloop that you have. So I just want to make sure. So yeah, it looks like you all can hear me okay. I just want to make sure I can hear you all okay. So yeah, throw something in the chat when you get a sec, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Cool. Boop, boop. All right, all good. Okay, so welcome. Yeah, again, been a little while. So what I wanted to do was demo the Workbench application. It's a new desktop application, and it's written in Electron. So let's fire this up, and I'll kind of talk about the motivation, but I think what I want to do is maybe spend 15 or 20 minutes. I don't think I'll get through all of the code, but spend just a little bit of time and kind of refine one of the tasks that I want to use in my own application. So I'll kind of talk about that here in just a second. But let's kind of demo the Electron Workbench app. So here it is in all its glory. You have all sorts of tasks that you can run. And the Workbench is actually something that exists currently on LaravelShift.com. It is just the Shift Workbench. There's an online version currently, which, as you can see, looks pretty familiar to what we've kind of built in this desktop app. And the motivation around having the desktop app is just to bring it a little bit closer for developers to be able to use. Even though it's not that painful, there is still a gap of like in the moment of need when you maybe want to format your code or do some refactors, do some Laravel specific type upgrades. It's a situation where you don't really think, oh, I'm going to go sign into Shift, go to the Workbench, build kind of that task, and then kind of wait for the PR. That's just kind of a slower feedback loop than I think what's warranted for those kind of quick refactors. And some of these refactors are even things that you may already be doing in your IDE, which again is a local application. So the thought process again of kind of making this local is the fact that you hopefully can use it kind of more quickly in your moment of need. So all of the 40 plus tasks that are available out online are able to be run locally here. And maybe about 15 of those are premium tasks. So things that would be done in shifts, for example, this class-based factories, it does require actions to tuple. These are kind of premium tasks that are going to be part of a license key that'll start out at a really discounted price, probably around 29 bucks, quickly move to 49 kind of after this alpha release. So to that point, this will hopefully be released next week, probably in its alpha state. We're still kind of working out some bugs on all the different platforms. That's kind of brings back old memories of building iOS applications. Even iOS applications, you kind of just had maybe a couple different form factors, but when iPad came out and things like that, Apple TV, you really started having to think about multiple platforms. But now with this, it's even multiple platforms of multiple platforms, meaning, you've got different flavors of Linux, you've got Windows, you got, Mac, but then you also have different devices that it could actually theoretically run on within those platforms. So working out some bugs there is probably going to be a few weeks. So that's the workbench. Welcome anyone's feedback in the chat. I'm not necessarily going to worry about demoing this today, the actual running of this and so forth. What I want to focus on is kind of building one more task. And this is kind of just working in public type thing. I'm finishing up a task that I was kind of interested in. So let me bring that task up. Whoops. Let's bring that task up. Looks like that page started playing the demo video. Let's go to Shift, and what do I have here? Remove dead code. Oh, this is one of the Rector editions that we're working on here. I'm curious what changes I have locally. Those should not be needed, so let's nam up, which is just a reset hard and a get clean. So what I want to do is let's pull down all the latest changes, which is a substantial amount of work. I don't get on my iMac too much lately with Izzy. I'm normally on the go with my laptop, so this is pretty far behind. Let's check out, Jess has been working on this new task here. So backing up a second, some of the free tasks are actually powered by Rector, which is an open source tool that allows you to kind of run refactors on your code. They even have some kind of updates that are part of their Rectors. So like PHP upgrade Rectors for like things like switching create function, for example, which was like removed in Laravel, or sorry, in PHP 8. So we've been using that. I've used that for a while now to power some of the shifts, especially again the free ones because it's open source. But we're starting to use it more to power some of these tasks inside of here. And along the way, we've found that while most of these are pretty cool, and there are a lot of them, they have a lot of boundary cases in them. So we're PRing back to Rector to kind of fix some of these boundary cases, and we're also kind of extending some of our own. So two of which that have been interesting to me, and the two I want to talk about today, are removing Docblocks. I'm just not a huge fan of Docblocks in my own code base. And after working with Laravel for 6 or 7 years now, I don't really need the ones that kind of get generated with the make commands. Now I could go in and tweak the stubs and kind of turn those off and so forth in all of my new code, and that's a super cool option if you really want to kind of tweak those. That's been available, I think, since Laravel 7, possibly some of them Laravel 6, but those stubs are always being updated. And you can, anything that you can artisan make, there's pretty much a stub for. So I could just remove all those Docblocks in the stub, and that would take care of my code moving forward, but it doesn't really fix my code going backward. So since LaravelShift.com, the website, the project has been around for, again, 6 years now, there's just some code that I want to remove. So I don't necessarily want to remove all comments. I want to remove like the Laravel comments, or at least comments from Laravel components. So this is just kind of like my own little itch task that I want to fix up. So that's what I want to work on today. So let's check out this branch, the remove Laravel Docblocks, and let's kind of, what am I going to need to do here to kind of demo this? We can do, let's do composer require, I think I'm going to need Rector locally, so let's do that first. Let's bring in Rector, all good. It looks like I already had it, so that's good. And I think I have some of these already. I've got this little hgrep command, which is just like a history grep. And I think I already have like some Rector stuff. Yes, I do. This is exactly what I want. Let's borrow this just in the interest of time. And what I want to do is I actually want to go, let's go to the Laravel Shift code base. And again, these are all things you wouldn't have to think about with the workbench, like moving around. You just set the path up there in the little toolbar, and it's going to just do it all for you. So these are kind of all the hurdles, even though, again, you could theoretically use, if you had pre-built some of these special custom rectors, you could do some of the things that I'm doing here. But you know, again, you got to navigate around the command line. You got to learn all of these options. There's actually an option I need to add to this, which is going to be kind of interesting here in a second. But let's just see this kind of do a dry run and see what we have currently. And then we'll kind of fix what's left. So there's one more thing I need to do, otherwise this doesn't run. I need to add an autoload file, which is actually just going to be Shift's autoload file, which unfortunately looks like I don't have. So you know what? Let's go to confident Laravel, and let's run this again. Let's run it on this code base because I do think I have everything installed here. I don't want to fire up Docker and everything for Laravel Shift. So let's just try this. And we're going to go in debug mode. Let me just kind of demo one of the headaches. Right away, you're just hit with this wall of errors when you try to run Rector, not installed in the current project. So the way around that, after some pain that we learned, was basically you can do this -a vendor. Oh, my eCam live thing's in the way. You can do vendor autoload.php to kind of reference this local autoload, but it looks like composer install needs to happen here as well. So let's try this again. Again, I don't want to fire up Docker. Ignore platform rex. There we go. Go, 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 go. Almost there. All right. So let's just see these in action, and then we'll kind of tweak this one just a bit. You'll get an idea of kind of the things that I want to do with it. So let's run this again, and hopefully it doesn't choke. It actually parses some stuff, which is good. We'll turn off this debug here in a minute, but it's actually parsing these files now, which is much, much better. Okay, so we can see here that when I remove all of these, it's actually removing them even from my custom classes. So this is actually a service within Confident Laravel, the payment gateway to wrap Stripe. You know, it actually removes it from there as well, which I don't want it to do these, right? So this is kind of that balance between removing all Docblocks, which is pretty heavy-handed. You may want to use that, and that's going to be freely available task because it's just a Rector with some small tweaks. But for this, in this case, you know, I don't really want to remove these comments. Let me kind of show you the comments that I would want to remove. So let's just do something like PHP artisan make command example command. All right, and if we just kind of GST, let's just cat this out real quick. And you'll see here, like, these are the kind of things I'm talking about right away. Commands come with this, like, name of the thing. Here's the signature. The console description, you know, property description. Create a new instance, empty constructor. You know, execute the console command, you know, handle. Like, I know what these are. So personally, I don't want these Docblocks. But again, I could change the stub and spend time doing that on each of my projects. But that doesn't really help me in the case of old code. So it's one of those things where I want to make like a remove Laravel comments very specific, right, to this. So this is just my own little task that I want to use personally on you know, my various projects to kind of just trim that code down. I don't need these. I've worked with Laravel long enough. You know, I know what the description is. I know it's a string, all that kind of stuff. So just kind of cut those out. So let's just get rid of these in the commands. I've kind of already done this with controllers and models and so forth. Jess has kind of laid the foundation for that. So let's work on kind of getting this command to, or sorry, getting that Rector to strip out these specific things that are auto-generated. So if we go back up here, I hear some comments. I will jump in there in just a second, but let me just get this running real quick. Let's remove Laravel Docblocks. And let's take off this debug just to kind of, and I'm going to limit this to the console, just so we get those specific files. So just, oh, I thought dry run would actually kick it out. Rector remove Laravel Docblocks. Is that not the right Rector name? Let's make sure this is the right Rector name. Cat, boop. Yes, it is the right Rector name. Why are you not being friendly right now? Oh, it doesn't do anything because we haven't built that yet. That makes more sense. So let's just run this on another directory though, just to make sure I'm not crazy. So let's run this on HTTP and we should see some dry run stuff. So 136 tons of controllers, and it is removing those, you know, store a newly created resource kind of thing from, you know, the different controllers. So that is working correctly in this case to remove those off of kind of the default 7 resourceful methods. So, but when we run this Laravel specific one, whoops, against console, it's not doing anything because it doesn't find anything that are kind of like blacklisted as Laravel comments. That's the piece I want to fix right now. Let me jump to the comments though, because I hear some people chit-chatting. Is it possible to also make Rector add type hints in the place of Docblocks? Yes, we have that task. Rector does give you a foundation there, but it's actually a combination of about 7 or 8 different Rectors to really get that to run the way you would expect, kind of as to meet like a developer's expectations. There's one for like return types, there's one to the Docblocks to like inject parameters, there's one for the return type I think I mentioned. There's a lot of different ones that kind of get added and injected. So you'd have to kind of go and figure out all the different Rectors to make that happen. And then, you know, piece them together. And even those, again, had a lot of boundary cases. Again, Rector is an awesome tool, but when you get in there and try to start using it, not only do you kind of have to learn how to make these special final classes with static closure returns and, you know, and then go through like the 700 different Rectors you can run. But then you get all sorts of noise like this trying to get it to run within your project. So we just want to make that a little easier. But yes, long story short, yes, if there isn't a return type on the method, or if you already had Docblocks that you were using and now with PHP 8 you want to just adopt type hints, you can do that. There's also Rectors for like removing unused or unnecessary type hints. So if you do type hint some of your code and it's also in the Docblock can cut that out, or vice versa. So we've really made an effort to make every task like there's both sides of it, right? So if you want to generate Docblocks, then we have a generate Docblocks. If you want to remove Docblocks, there's a remove Docblocks, right? There's going kind of both ways. So for every action we have like an equal and opposite reaction, right? So anyway, so long story short, there will be other tasks within the workbench that you can run that do things with type hints by injecting them from Docblocks and so forth. So there's about 4 or 5 of these all around Docblocks that are going to be available. And I'd say half of them are probably built with Rector, and then the other half are kind of our custom code like we're going to see here. So to that point, let's go back to Shift and let's bring up PHP Stormsville. And what time is it getting to be? I've got about 12 more minutes. Izzy is, I do daddy daycare during the day, so which is one of the reasons why I haven't done as many live streams recently. So Izzy is down for her nap right now, but won't be in about 40 minutes, so I'll need to leave myself some time to get some lunch. So let's close all these and let's just focus on updating that Laravel Docblocks one that we had. So Laravel, remove Laravel Docblocks. Okay, so the way this works is pretty much everything kind of gets chunked out of here. Oh, that was not the one I wanted. These aren't the ones you're looking for. Laravel Docblock, there it is. Okay, so we have this remove Laravel Docblocks class that's inside of here, special for Rector. It's a final class. I don't do that kind of stuff. But let's take a look at these methods here, and we're going to add one for command. And what we have here is, let's go back and cat out that default file. Right now I'm just going to focus on the defaults, because again, what I really want to focus on is anything that gets artisan make or artisan made, if you will. Basically, I want to get rid of any of those comments that we see. And then the models, we actually were really dense to kind of go in for all the different attributes. Because like sometimes people go in to the core model and they'll just kind of copy one of those properties like connection or whatever that doesn't come generated from make. So, you know, we want to make sure to really be robust. And again, this is all that custom kind of work and effort to kind of make this really cater some of these things for Laravel. Confident Laravel app console command example. So let's just kind of see what we have here. So this create new instance command. Basically the way this works is we just have a couple different properties, and we say something like, kind of give it like a root bit here. So create new command instance, and this would just be like constructor or construct. So that's the constructor. That should ideally take care of that. And then we have execute console command, and this is just kind of like, again, a fuzzy match. It's kind of a blacklist, if you will, of like what kind of comments should get removed. So if you find a construct method and it contains this, then we know that that's pretty much one of the Laravel defaults. You might have tweaked some of the remove comment, or sorry, some of the doc blocks to inject different things, but you know, theoretically they're type hinted. You know what you're doing. You're the developer. You're smart. You know, we give you the knife. You figure out what you want to cut. That's not really on us. So this is kind of what we're after. You got to be a handle method, and then your comment doc block would have to say execute the console command. So long as it says that, then this would get removed. So let's just kind of start here real quick. Again, all the foundation's been laid. I'm going to bring up a different command or terminal window here, so it's a little easier to kind of run all these at the same time. So let's just go back up to this, and hopefully, if we're lucky, boom, there we go. Look at that. It's that easy. These are now being removed. Awesome. Let's move on to the properties. Love your parenting commitment. Yeah, you know, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I enjoy it, you know, and I'm lucky. I'm so lucky to be, you know, a developer that can work from home, and you know, also full-time on shift now, so I kind of make my own hours. So, you know, I stay up a little late sometimes to get some things done, but I really like being able to spend time with her during the day. When, you know, she's little, you're never going to get that time back. I'm never going to have another chance. I'll always have more time to live stream and you know, do more with shift, you know. So I like being part of it is the point. So yeah. Okay, let's get a few more of these. I want to get rid of these. These are so goofy. Let's go down to properties, and it looks like these are all model properties, I think. Look at all those, geez. So again, just all this stuff kind of done for you. It just makes it so much easier. So let's just give ourselves a tiny little tag there that makes it easier, and let's do command. Now, technically speaking, these aren't limited to just command, and that's an area that we may tweak moving forward. So for example, let's say model already had a signature property. We know that it doesn't, but let's just say it did. It would be, you know, it would actually remove that potentially from, you know, the command as well. So like if you had a timestamp thing in here somehow, that would actually get picked up right now. So that's for another day. But again, we do kind of limit it by looking at this name and signature of the console command. So it's, if you really had this in your model, first of all, that would be a bit strange. That would be a very interesting false positive. So I'm not too worried about it for today, but that is a known limitation at the moment. So we may be expanding this as time goes on. Okay, so we have signature and description now. If we go back, we should be able to run this, and we'll see hopefully that it gets rid of those as well. And it does. There we go. Super awesome. How easy was that? So again, just a way to streamline this. I mean, if you look at this out of the box, you know, we've basically removed over half the lines of code in this file you know, again, this already existed. The example command, you know, has been removed now. So it's actually picking up more things. You know, it didn't always get these earlier. So this just looks like a command that I missed. And again, this is existing code, so that doesn't help me if I remove the stub, you know, or customize the stub for this project. That's going to help me moving forward, and it's a super awesome feature. But, you know, this is, again, nice to kind of clean up after the fact. So what time we got? All right, I think I'm gonna stop here. This is just, again, just the first of hopefully many live streams over the next week or two of kind of demonstrating these different pieces. But I think I'd rather than trying to squeeze in another component within Laravel, a policy, or, you know, whatever else, I think what I'd like to do is maybe just give you all a chance to ask some questions. I welcome any feedback, and while I'm letting those come across, let's just take a peek at some of these artisan commands. Yeah, we've got all sorts of things here. Commands, so I'm just going to go down the line. You know, you got events, you got factories, that's a good one. Jobs, there's a lot of noise in jobs, I think, that comes out of the box. Very similar to components. So let's just make example job, GST, let's just dump this out. So cat, boom, boom. Yeah, same thing, create new job instance, execute the job, like just not very valuable comments. You know, it's even an empty constructor. And again, I totally get why Artisan Make is doing this stuff, but you know, a lot of code that can be cleaned up here. In fact, we do have a dead code task that fits on kind of in line with the base code practices. Basically, that would go in and see if you had left this constructor, it would actually end up removing it because it's an empty constructor. All right, well, I appreciate everyone joining me for the quick impromptu live stream. Like I said, I hope to be doing more of these moving forward, maybe get deeper into the Electron app itself, kind of demo some of those things, because that's been a fun process. Also talk about how these tasks are run locally, and you know, maybe build some more tasks from the community. So if you have any ideas for tasks when you watch this, definitely give me some feedback on Twitter, post in the YouTube comments, I'll check them out. But yeah, I hope to add dozens more tasks over time. Again, I think this could be a really cool refactoring tool, not just Laravel specific. There's already PHP specific tasks. I mean, even these, removing Docblocks is PHP in general. It's not, this one specifically, of course, is Laravel, but you know, this is going to be PHP, Laravel, really eventually maybe some Tailwind things now that we're building more Tailwind shifts. So I could just see dozens of tasks being built over time in this tool to really almost make it like a Laravel PHP code refactoring tool right there on your desktop. So again, I think the power belongs on the desktop. I'm really hoping it gets more usage for these workbench tasks for developers, you know, on kind of their everyday maintenance and refactoring kind of tasks, right? Adrian, you need to add a task to transform table name strings into model class for a cert database. Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that would be there already is one to change any strings it finds to use the class constant, or the class static property or whatever, but that would be a good Laravel specific addition to find one for like use table names as classes. It would take some inspection, but yeah, it would definitely be pretty cool. I'll think on that one. Good suggestion. Like I said, if you have any more, throw them in the YouTube comments or hit me up on Twitter @GoneDark, and I'll see you all next time.